Wow. I just received a text message. Hell, let me check my bells and whistles. Make sure. Thanks, babe. And I appreciate you and love you, for just standing by, nigga, man. I appreciate it. For real. My ideas come to life and it pays. But thank you, though. We're a great team. I love you. Hey, can you do me a favor and see if my Facebook is working and you can hear me? Yeah, I'm getting text messages early. Heartbeats. We're getting text messages very early. Uh, things are going well. Um, Plenty of messages. I wake up with messages. I'm backed up with stories upon stories from the people. I'm going live right now. I'm going live right now. We taking call-ins right now from people. Man, I already got somebody calling me right now. For real. Hello. Hey, hello. This is the Heartbeat Live. What's going on?
Mr. Davis, thank you for taking my call.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is for the call. Hello?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Oh, how you doing? This is anonymous caller right here, right?
Yes, sir. Anonymous as can be. I can give you a little bit of background on me. I am.
Hold on, you cut out. You cut out. You cut out.
Oh, hold on a sec. How about now?
I can hear you. Said I'm gonna give a little bit of background on myself, and you cut out.
Okay, I'm so sorry for that. I can give you background on both of the candidates. Myself was an Elkhart County Sheriff's Department employee for approximately 8.5 years.
Wow.
During that time, I had the opportunity to work with alongside. I was a corrections officer, not a road officer, but I got to know most of my colleagues that worked there at the time, including Mike Culp and Brian Holloman. During my time there, I achieved the rank of corporal, and I received 2 challenge coins for meritorious service. So, not your standard run-of-the-mill guy. I achieved quite a bit during my career.
Sweet.
And so, yeah, I definitely have strong feelings about the Sheriff's Department.
Right. As a lot of people do. I just got a text message on my phone, and it's crazy. Someone said just this morning that they say people want to talk, they're just scared of retaliation from Siegel. Siegel has promised if he finds out who says anything, they will pay.
That is not surprising. Absolutely not surprising. I mean, when it comes to retaliation from Siegel, based on information I have, we had a detective that ran against Siegel in the previous election. And the detective that ran against him, once Siegel was elected, that detective was quickly shown the door.
What?
Yeah, it was one of his political opponents when they were running in the Republican primary. And when Siegel got the nomination, it didn't take too long for that detective to be essentially moved out of the department.
Wow. And continuing on in this text message, I'm thinking Brad is Bradbury. Is that his name?
No, well, Brad would be Brad Rogers. He's a former sheriff.
Okay, there we go. They're saying he was very corrupt, and they said they've been saying this for 15 years. I just got this text message from a random person.
Yeah, Brad Rogers. I worked underneath him. Yes, corrupt. Yes, people corrupt. He's what I like to call the perfect politician.
Wow.
because he's going to do everything he can say and do to get elected. He's going to kiss the babies. He's going to shake the hands. He's going to wave an American flag. He is a perfect politician, but behind that politician, there is no substance.
What? So what was going on in the jail? Because there's been a lot of people just recently this past year who have died in jail. There's been previous deaths too in the jail.
Mm-hmm. Well, thankfully in Elkhart County, well, like when you look at other counties have had, especially like St. Joe County. I think even Marshall County had one within the last year. But Elkhart County, thankfully, has only had, if I'm not mistaken, since we moved into the new facility, there have only been 3, perhaps 4 deaths in about 15, 20 years. Yeah, close to 20 years. So that number is actually quite low.
Right.
When you think about averages.
The old facility, were you at the old facility as well?
I worked there for approximately 1 year, yes, and thankfully nobody died when I was there, but the old facility was just a nightmare.
Wow, maltreatment of inmates and
maltreatment of inmates, maltreatment of jail staff. I mean, it was the absolute worst working environment that you could possibly imagine.
What? So how were some of the inmates treated that you witnessed?
Well,
and heard about, explain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at the old jail, the problems that we'd run into, overcrowding was the largest problem that we had. I mean, we had to put people in it's an open air gym. Essentially, it's enclosed, but they considered it an open air gym. I mean, we had 50, 60 people sleeping on floor mats in a gym area. And I mean, that gym area is essentially, I want to say, maybe half the size of a basketball court, maybe just a little bit larger, but you had to have, we had 50, 60 people crammed into that area. We had people sleeping, in a cell. We'd have 3 or 4 people in a cell that was only designed for 2. We had 60 people, like I said, sleeping on the ground with mats. And for those 60 people, there were only 2 working toilets at a time.
Wow.
And maybe 2 working showers. And it was just, and the smell. Oh, good Lord. It was just a rough place.
Yeah. Any physical altercations?
Yeah, daily.
Oh,
daily.
What? With COs beating on inmates.
Well, the good thing I think about that one is the uses of force that I was a part of and that I witnessed. I would say 99% of them were completely justified. It wasn't an issue of, guard on inmate brutality. I think
that's what I'm speaking on. Guard on inmate brutality, like just flat out. If you heard or anything, or you sound like a guy. If you witnessed anything, you probably would have said something. But
heavens yes. I think, especially when we moved to the new jail, there's cameras everywhere, and there's just no way to explain away, guard on inmate brutality. You can't say, "Oh, he swung first," because there's literally, I want to say, there's at least 300 cameras in the new jail. 300 to 400 cameras, and they're recording 24/7, and they're recording so much. So getting away with brutality, especially in the jail, it's just something that just can't take place anymore. I'm not saying it might not occur, but it's extremely difficult, and it's just something that would be reported so fast.
Now, something I want to ask, just because the female inmates, I know COs, male COs can have temptations. Have you heard of any female CO intimate interactions at all?
Yes, and when they're discovered, they are promptly fired, which I find interesting. The female COs that we've had in the past, they are promptly fired and dismissed from their job. But the male COs who fall into that, carrying on a sexual relationship with an inmate, the male COs who were caught and fired were ultimately arrested and charged. The females, they were just dismissed without charge.
Wow. What? That's crazy. So the man faces criminal charges?
Yes. Yes, one of the worst times that we went through. We actually had. I was actually working in the control room one day, and there was a bunch of command staff, and we had an officer who had turned himself in for having a sexual relationship with an inmate, and we were in the process of booking him. But at the same time, another officer, we'll call him Officer A. Officer A reported for duty, and he was in the roll call area getting ready, and command staff was already there. So not only was Officer A there, but all of second shift was there, and they proceeded to charge and arrest that guy for trafficking with an inmate in the middle of roll call in front of all of his friends, just completely destroying. And this happened under Rogers, just completely destroying any and all morale that shift might have had. And it was just, you should have seen the faces of the people walking through the door when they were clocking in, when they were getting ready to start their shift. I mean, people weeping, people crying, they just couldn't believe the violation of trust that another corrections officer had just laid at their feet.
Wow. That is crazy. Oh my goodness.
Well, I also have firsthand knowledge. This is pretty much, I'm hoping somebody looks into it, but,
I will.
Yeah,
we will. We got some watchers right now. We're watching and we're listening.
Yeah, like I said, ask me any question, but I'll tell you. There's one thing that I do know about, and I'm trying to be as delicate as I can.
No, man, you go ahead and cut loose, man. The people need to know.
Okay, yeah.
You cut loose. Don't hold back on anything. Nobody knows who you are. I don't know who you are. The people don't know who you are. You say it how it needs to be said.
Okay, under Sheriff Brad Rogers, there was a captain, and I'm not going to give any letters to his name, but there was a captain whose daughter was working in the kitchen, and an allegation came up that a captain's daughter was having a sexual relationship with an inmate in the spice room.
Ooh.
Now, normally what's supposed to happen when that gets reported, classification or the classification officers, if they hear about it, they contact the jail investigative services. The jail detective.
Right.
And the jail detective launches an investigation. Well, during the reign of Brad Rogers, we'll put, this captain protected his own daughter and shut down the investigation. A couple of classification officers went to the captain, said, hey, this is what we've heard. This is coming your way. We got to notify so-and-so to start an investigation. And this captain...
my alarm went off. I'm sorry.
No, okay. This captain told classification, said, you are not launching an investigation into my daughter. And classification said, sir, we have to. We're required by PREA. PREA is a federal law. It stands for Prison Rape Elimination Act. We're required by law. And the captain looked at him and said, if you like your job, you're going to shut up and walk out of the office right now. And it never went anywhere.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
What?
Honest to God.
That's crazy. What?
There's so much that I've witnessed under the Brad Rogers administration that it would make your head spin. I'm talking the foolish expenditures. I'm talking
please tell.
Record turnover. I mean, what people need to understand about this election. This is why this coming election is so very important. Under Brad Rogers and then Jeff Siegel, nothing has changed at that department. There is record turnover, right? Under Mike Culp, it's going to be business as usual. Nothing will change because they don't see anything wrong. They don't see anything wrong with the department. They just think it's just a personnel issue. Now, the people that are listening, I would like to tell you, it's not. Is it a personnel issue? Yes, but it's also a leadership issue. There is a problem in leadership when more people, they are offering these people now to work at the jail more money than I possibly could have been given when I worked there. When When I started there, I was making $12.50 an hour. Imagine being a corrections officer for $12.50 an hour. Now they're offering $25, $27, $30 an hour to be a corrections officer. You know that, and people are still fleeing from that job because it's a leadership problem. And you know, Brad Rogers, Jeff Siegel, Mike Culp, they refuse to acknowledge that. But more importantly, the people that are listening, you need to see it not just as a personnel issue or a leadership issue in your county, but it is a huge financial issue in your county. Let's imagine your local department, your sheriff's department in Elkhart County, has to hire because of turnover. This is just in the jail. Let's imagine you have to hire at least 3 people per month to replace people that are just, they're getting up to leave to go work at Little Caesars, to go work at Subway, you know, to Uber. You know, they're not going to other high-paying jobs. They're going just so they can leave, right? Mm. So let's imagine you have 36 people a year that you have to replace for a small division. You say, well, that doesn't sound like much. Well, you're a taxpayer. In order to get these people through the background checks, the training process, to get them, their uniforms, from start to finish, on average, it costs maybe $5,000 or $6,000 to get somebody signed off on day one to start at that jail. If you're going through 36 people a year in your jail, and it costs $6,000 to get them through the door, that's over $200,000 a year of taxpayer money just to get these people in and out of the door. That's why it should matter to the people of Elkhart County, because it's a huge expenditure. And ultimately, where does it lie upon? Where does the blame go? The blame has to start at the top. It absolutely, you have to have a candidate that's going to take ownership of the department. Mm. Mike Culp is running, and he is running because he thinks that he is owed this, that he's going to be bestowed this by his predecessor, by Siegel. Mm. He thinks he's the next chosen one. He's the golden boy. He's earned it. The difference in campaign between Brian Holloman and Mike Culp is Mike Culp thinks he deserves it. Brian Holloman wants to earn your trust. Huge difference in philosophy.
That's why Culp hasn't even responded, or his wife hasn't responded or tried to get at me about coming onto the Heartbeat.
Exactly. And you have a voice. I mean, you have a voice that, thousands of people listen to on a monthly basis, tens of thousands?
That's true.
And why don't they take the time to talk to you?
I mean, in a week, I'll hit 10K,
Yeah.
I hit 40K in a day.
I mean, that's, see, here's the thing. One of the things I've noticed about Brian is whether you have 1K listener or you're a sole listener sitting at a booth drinking a cup of coffee, he's going to take the time to talk to you. Mm-hmm. And I'm not part of this campaign. I know some of the people that are listening, maybe they're culpaholics, they're gonna say, well, this guy's obviously part of the campaign. Nope, I'm just a supporter. I've got a yard sign. That's about it. I've met the guy on his campaign stop. I plan on being there on May the 5th when he wins the primary. It's like I plan on supporting him. But other than that, I've got nothing to do with the campaign. I just care about the department. I care about our county. Right.
Wow.
And I've watched the debates. I've watched the debates that have trickled through. When I worked at the jail, I'll tell you a quick funny story. We used to have a nickname for Mike Culp. We used to call him the Culpinator. The reason we called him that is you're familiar with Arnold Schwarzenegger's role as the Terminator.
Right.
He's this machine that had no emotions, and he was just, just looking around. There's just no emotion to him. Very, very robotic in his answers. That's what we called Culp, because he's just very, very robotic. There's no emotion. It just seems like there's no passion, and that's the Culp I remember.
No spirit in there.
No, there's nothing in there. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a competent captain. When it comes to a boss, he would be a good boss. But when it comes to sheriff, we don't need any more bosses. We need a leader. That's the main difference. That's why so many officers are scared to, current officers, whether it be jail or road, they're too scared to really speak up, because they know their jobs are going to be in jeopardy. There will be retaliation if they speak up. It's sad, but that's why you're not going to see really any current sheriff's department employees, and for a couple of reasons. Number one, since this is technically a political election, we're pretty much prohibited from, making political statements. Either way, at work, I'll say you're not allowed to do it, but in your personal time you can. But they don't want to say anything because they know it'll get back, and their career will be it'll be flushed down the toilet.
Dang, so a lot of people are just staying for the comfort of the money and the well-being of their families from their job, but can't say anything. So,
they're hoping and praying. They're hoping and praying that Brian gets elected, because they know he's gonna take ownership from day one. He's going to take ownership, and he's not just going to be the problem that we have had with our previous sheriffs, right? Going back from Brad Rogers to Jeff Siegel, is they're never out of their. We used to call the sheriff's office, like his main office. They're never outside their fortress of solitude, brother. They're always inside that office. They delegate so much responsibility, and I understand as a sheriff, you do have to delegate some responsibility, but you also have to intermingle. You also have to go with the people that you're leading. Leadership should never be from the rear. Leadership should always be from the front.
I heard that.
Never. I never saw any sheriff at the jail, whether it be to pat us on the shoulder, say we're doing a good job, pass out laundry, help with med pass, book people in, work medical, work the main lobby. Never, ever.
So it's poor leadership, and it's just like,
it's poor leadership.
Poor leadership, and it's just like a free reign inside the jail, basically, and people are just sick of the environment there, from the treatment of fellow officers, from the treatment of inmates. And I understand you're getting to the taxpayer dollars, and that's what's extremely important here too, but the taxpayer dollars are being spent because of the poor environment in there. It sounds like not inmate on inmate, but sheriff on sheriff bullying or some type of maltreatment for the turnover rate and the maltreatment of inmates. That trickles down. It trickles down from the top all the way down from
it does.
The COs to the inmates, and it's just a poor environment. People aren't really getting the help that they need being incarcerated. They kind of come out worse, and that heightens the recidivism from the emotional health.
Yeah. And I think the officers that work there, it's kind of like the officers that are there, they face the same kind of problems that a lot of inmates would, especially when it comes to stress and mental health. I know of an officer who reached out for help. He was suffering from anxiety and depression. Well, you work in a jail to where at any given time there's only 5 people on the floor to look after over 1,000. At the time there was 1,000 inmates, right? And you're working 6 days a week, and on your 7th day you might get called in to work for 4. There's no days off. You can't take sick time. You can't take vacation time. And it's like, so this officer reached out for help and said, I'm overwhelmed. It's like, I'm becoming distant to my family. And it didn't take them too long to where they, rather than reach out and embrace that officer, they did everything they could to get him to quit. And he ultimately ended up quitting.
Damn. Yeah, that's a big problem with our county, man. It's the bullying, man. That we're wondering why the kids bully each other and the kids are committing suicide. Look at the adults. The kids aren't reading about bullying inside a bully manual that's in their school library. I mean, it's coming from the adults. They're learning from watching the adults bully each other, and the kids are bullying each other, and the kids can't take it and are committing suicide. Our suicide rate our average outbeats the state's average. That's every county in Indiana. What is it, 86 counties?
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
Outbeats every county in Indiana. That is a mental health crisis. If it's screaming mental health crisis, if nothing else does. And
Agreed.
I've been trying to tell people for so long that this is a trickle down effect from the adults. The adults have to change, but our leadership has to change. That goes for municipal, municipal. I'm sorry, to our county administrations, to our prosecutor's office, especially as well. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Things need to change. Little food for thought for people out there that are listening. Once again, because I'm coming from a law enforcement perspective. As a law enforcement officer, whether it be on the road or in a jail, working as a jail officer, you're more likely to die by suicide than you are to be killed by an inmate or just random interaction out on the street.
Damn.
The suicide rate is that high amongst law enforcement officials.
Damn.
I mean, I've always said that corrections officers are the silent law enforcement that nobody speaks about. Because I can tell you, these people are hurting. Jail officers, they are hurting.
Mm-hmm.
Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. They're hurting, and there are good ones. It's like the bad ones. They need to be rooted out, and they need to be gotten rid of right away. But the good ones, it's like they are hurting, and they're like right now in Elkhart County, they're hurting, and they're really with bated breath. They are watching this election.
Mm-hmm.
May 5th. That primary, you got to get out there and vote.
You got to vote.
You have to vote. So much, so much depends on it. People, I can't stress enough that how important this upcoming election is. And I think it's a shame because when you look at local elections versus state and federal, local elections get maybe, 1/10 of what state and federal. Like when you talk about local elections, if you have maybe you'll get 3,000 or 4,000 votes for any given candidate. But then when it comes to a state or federal election, you'll get 10 times that amount because the electorate shows up. It's like local elections are equally as important as state and federal.
Of course. I mean, the people who run here in local elections, they're usually readied up to be representatives in the state, governors, and
yes,
etc. So it really is important to learn your candidates early because they take their careers to the state.
Yes, they do.
And usually, I mean, if they start young enough, I mean, you might have that person run the country. I mean, that's not a far-fetched thought either, but that's the career of it. But yeah, man, this is crazy from oh yeah, I wanted to ask one thing. The drugs. What about drugs getting into the jail? Anything on that part?
I don't have anything concrete, but I can tell you some of the ways that inmates are able to get drugs in. Obviously, the elephant in the room is corrections officers are bringing it in. I don't know that for sure. I know they had a huge problem with that at work release years ago and they might still have a problem with it, but I know they're taking measures to, to take care of that. In the jail itself, they have this body scanner that inmates coming back from court, they have to sit in, and it's supposed to detect it on their person. Well, those aren't always 100% accurate, and inmates, they can get past stuff off at court, and what they essentially it's called boofing or keystering. They'll get a package and they'll insert it into their rectum, and and then when they get back to the jail, if they're not discovered, they'll expel it. But the two main sources of trafficking comes from, number one, from other officers in the jail, and number two, outside visits, trips to court, things such as that.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Or intake. I should say intake. Like a lot of inmates, when they get brought in on intake, like let's imagine a subject has just been arrested and they come into the jail. If they have advanced knowledge of them being arrested, they will hide, and they'll go to great lengths to hide, whether it be drugs or tobacco on them, pills. They'll go to great lengths, and if an officer is not diligent and thorough in his search, then that stuff will get through.
Wow, man, from police brutality to the drugs to the sex crimes that go on, and only male inmates get charged, convicted, and charged and convicted, I should say.
The male officers,
yeah,
because when it comes to relationship between jail staff and inmates, the inmate is never charged because they are not in a position to where there's no such thing as consensual sex in a jail, because the officer that's in there, even if both of them are madly in love with each other, the officer holds such authority over the inmate that the inmate cannot consent in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
So, but once again, like I said, I've heard of females who the only time a female would get charged is maybe somebody brought something in from the outside. But when it came to sexual, sexual impropriety or sexual conduct, they were not charged.
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, a female correctional officer should be held to the same standard, though. It's kind of like discrimination in a way.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, you dropped the dime on all of that, plus the taxes and the political side. Excuse me. I'm taken back right now, and this is gonna stay on my live for 30 days. Live stay up for 30 days, so the people that's watching, you'll have time. If you came and watched, and you've been back and forth, you'll have time to sit and watch this. We're gonna take more callers in. Is there anything that you like to say, Anonymous? I mean, the floor is open for you if you don't have anything else to say.
Yeah. I would like to say, once again, Mr. Davis, thank you for allowing me to vent. In a way, it's therapeutic because, even though I haven't been part of the sheriff's department in such a long time, I still love the place, believe it or not. I still miss the place. When we moved to the new jail, I was part of the group of officers that helped. We essentially, because there really were no good plans for day one. It's like, or day two. So we helped write that. We helped write all of the, operating orders that the jail goes on, and and I like the fact that my fingerprints and my DNA are still there, even though I've been gone. I miss the place, but I'm also very happy I'm no longer there. But this coming election, like I said, I can't stress enough how important it is. If you want business as usual, if you want high turnover, little to no accountability for road staff, jail staff, expenditures, then if you don't want any change, you don't want to change the turnover, you don't want any accountability, vote for Mike Kolb. Go out. Go ahead. If you want a sheriff that is a proven leader who cares, and who's going to change things, then we already know what you're going to do. You're going to get out there and you're going to vote for Brian Holloman.
Mm. Well, thank you for the call, man. Dang. Thank you for the call. Hopefully, more people call in, man. I had another call come in while me and you were talking. So, man, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for tuning in to the Heartbeat, man. And, thanks for the support. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you. God bless. I appreciate you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Now, that shit was wicked, y'all. That shit was wicked. That shit happened so fast. That is crazy. I mean, and where it really matters and where it costs is the taxpayer dollars. Now, people who work, people who pay their taxes, you know, they're in tune with the vote. Not really. Not a lot of people don't vote like that. And me getting older, I'm still young, but getting older. Hey, hello.
What's going on, brother Duke?
Hey, I'm live right now, taking live call-ins and stuff, man. Let me call you back when I'm through.
All right, bet.
All right, bro. Well, where it matters are the taxpayer dollars, and us as people should be concerned where those dollars are going, state and nationally. There's so much to be paying attention to. There's so much to be. There's so much, and I can't. I can't stress it enough that people aren't mad enough. And the reason why I believe people aren't mad enough is because they aren't paying enough attention. Call me what you want, okay? Call me a criminal, call me whatever you want. I'm not out here robbing stores. I don't want to rob any stores, liquor stores. I'm not out here selling drugs. I am out here on legal expenditures to provide a financial means for my family. So there are people who are corrected. There are people who want to stand with you to make a difference in your county, in your community, for your change. And those should be the people who are not ignored. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but if there are people calling into my show that I just started, if there are people calling in and speaking on it, and these aren't regular, degular people, okay? These are police officers, people that, essentially I avoided. Now I'm hand in hand with them. No, I'm not a snitch. You can call me what you want. Call me what you want. Now I'm hand in hand with them because we're trying to get positive, responsible, accountable leadership here. I don't know Mike Culp. I don't know Brian Holloman. I am familiar with Brian Holloman. We have spoke. I am not biased in this situation. Now, I do appreciate Brian keeping his word, coming through, and speaking to the people. He's a man of his word. Now, Mike Cope can call me right now and make me feel some type of way because I'm banking on I will bet all my money in the bank. All my money in the bank. I got a couple dollars that Mike Cope will not call me for an interview. I do not think that's about to happen. What's today? It's 2 days before my son's birthday. I don't think that's about to happen. Hey, we taking call-ins, man. I'm gonna be live for another like 30 minutes. We taking call-ins right here live on the Heartbeat. We in the side studio right now. See what's going on. Let's see what's going on, y'all. Let's see what's going on. Nick Williams here. What's up, Nick? From Goshen, Indiana. Beautiful family. Couple mutual friends here. Oh, you friends with my cousin. That's cool. Go ahead and confirm you. Looks like a good guy there, right? Another thing I wanted to go on, and what I'm tired of. What I'm tired of is the courts abusing the parent who cares. And I seen this video of this guy, right? I seen a video where this guy right here, Noah Mazar,
at the Elkhart County Courthouse. So I just got out of a court hearing for my children, and
82,000 views, 424 comments, 102 likes. This man went live, okay?
And I have been falsely accused throughout this whole incident.
Now, Noah goes on, and Noah is talking about how he's been falsely accused. The judge is falsely accusing him, and he has evidence, exculpatory evidence, proving his innocence, and it's not being heard by the court. This right here, this is not just happening to men. This is happening to women that I know. Thelma Flannery, another woman. Let me get her name right. Ashley. Uh, uh, uh. What is her name? Ashley Higgins, I believe. But let me make sure. Ashley Hess Franklin. It's myself. I want to be in my oldest daughter's life. The courts made me feel like I should just give up my rights because mom wasn't following the parental order. Mom wasn't following the parental time guidelines. She wasn't following anything. And I was filing motions with evidence showing that she is not abiding. And nothing would happen. I'm in supervised visits. I have to do all these things. My daughter, she's 11 years old. You have us in here in a toddler's room. She's like, Dad, what is going on? I haven't seen my daughter in 3 years. We're going through an appeal right now.
Okay, throughout this whole custody battle, I have been falsely accused. I go in there, the judge don't even let me speak. He don't even let me talk at all. And he accused me under oath, and the guardian ad litem, Susan Corwin Kripe, and Judge Bonfiglio falsely accused me under oath again when I have document papers. I have document papers from professionals that did forensics interviews, that did the whole 9 yards.
Now, he said forensic evidence. I don't know exactly of what Mr. Mazar is being accused of, right? But I heard through the grapevine, I'm not going to say his business. I'm going to respect this man and I'm not going to say his business. But the allegations are horrendous.
Solid reports of coaching that's involved, a lot of things that have happened throughout this case that are involved. And they, under oath, have falsely accused me again.
Falsely accused, coaching. Sounds like they're trying to say he did something to a child or something like that. That's what it sounds like. And I feel this guy's pain. Like, I wasn't accused of anything like that. I'm just accused of being a criminal and I don't deserve to be in my daughter's life. You guys are acting like I died and I don't deserve my child. And then to put the icing on the cake, someone's trying to adopt my daughter. Like, she has a dad that wants to be there. If I didn't want to be there, I wouldn't be in appeal. If Mazar didn't want to be there, he wouldn't be in there. Why is Judge Bonfiglio doing this? Because some way, somehow, with these children in Elkhart County, money is involved. They get paid they get paid to keep them fighting. They get paid. The state gets paid for taking your child. Oh, don't let both of you be on drugs. Don't let both of you lose your child because the state, they get paid. Buku money.
I cannot state this enough. Our justice system needs to do better. Okay? How are they supposed to expect us to follow the law if they are not following the law themselves? Okay? I am a great father. I am an active father. I do what's best for my children. And you sit here and you don't even look through any of the paperwork that's given to you. You don't look at nothing that's given to you. And you sit here and you just go with what you know, with what you think. You don't.
They go with what they want to do. A judge told me in my child custody case, he was walking downstairs. He told me to get out the way. Let this appeal go through. I don't want you ruling over the best interests of my child. In a small town in southern Indiana, send us back to Fort Wayne. I never wanted to go there. They say it's closer for mom. What about me and my family? What about me and mine? My wife is about to be pregnant again. What about mine? This favoritism, it needs to stop. And where it stops is the education of us. We need to get together. Boy.
Go by the law. You go by what you think. Listen, if you guys know anybody that can help me out, I want to get the news station involved in this, because in that courtroom today where I was at, laws were broken. Laws were broken, and it seems that fathers cannot get a word out. It is not fair in that courtroom, in Superior Courtroom 6 in Judge Bonfiglio's courtroom. Okay? I cannot stress this enough, that
there are plenty of parents going through the same thing as Mazar. I have a podcast coming soon with Thelma and Ashley, and hopefully Mazar, if he writes me back, and myself speaking on this. The first thing we need to do, we need to stop this energy, this environment that we're creating, that us 35, 36-year-olds, going on 40-year-olds need to relive our youth. No, we need to lead by example. For what you're good at, for what you're great at, do that. Even if you make music or whatever, do that then. It's time to go all the way in with that. If you are an artist, do that. It's time to go all the way in with that. But us as a community, need to put aside our egos individually and come together so shit like this doesn't happen. It's the crab in a barrel syndrome. Everybody wants to be that person, but you forget the strength of togetherness. You solid. Nothing can beat it. We need oversight committees. For the police merit commission, for these judges, we need to learn our laws. We need to be involved. Our children need us. We need each other. How are we going to make a change being separated like this? It is imperative to our future, our children's future. We still have 30 years, 35, 40 years left on this earth. It matters. Voting matters. Getting the corrupt officials out matters. The rich needs to uphold the people who have gone without. It's not like we know what's better for or best for you, but we know where the emotional health needs to go. We care enough to make the positive change for the future generations and for the future generations to lead in that manner. I don't see any rich person caring about anybody in my neighborhood, and I live in the suburbs. Mazar, man, I'm sorry you're going through this, man. It's a long video. We might go live and revisit this. I'm going to end this live. I don't know how long I've been live. I ended in 9 minutes on an hour dime. The seriousness of voting. If you haven't registered to vote, my advice to you is to get out there, register to vote, register yourself to vote, like straight up. Let me fix this right quick. Oh wow. Register yourself to vote. Get the corrupt officials out. On this podcast, I want to stress again that I'm not telling you guys who to vote for, okay? That's not what I'm doing. I am doing investigative journalism and allowing people to make their most educated choice. In my campaign, I'm not running. I am not running. Everybody else says, yeah, I'm running for office. I'm running for you. I'm running for you. Running for the people. I want to make a positive difference within Bristol, Indiana, Elkhart County. Mike Yoder, no one likes you. I'm just going to say that. No one likes you, Mike. We all know you're rich, and we know that you're going in between statues to pull all the money that you made. You're a millionaire. You're smug. No one likes you. Kevin Bullard, you're cool. I think. I don't know. But, I'm getting into these politics, and we need someone for the people. And I'm just saying, for any candidate moving here, to May to November, don't come out speaking, I'm for the people. Don't try to take my slogan. Don't try to do that. We're not doing that. All right. Like I said, oh man, my phone then froze up. like I said, it is imperative for you to register to vote and to vote. Teach your children about the voting process. If you don't know about the voting process, I can make a video on explaining that to you. You understand? But how all this is going down, if people are saying the same things. It's not um I don't hear a lot of, oh, Cope is the best candidate, and people going back and forth and back and forth. No, it's not any of that. um I'm just hearing straight Holloman, and I'm not biased, but I'm not gonna say how I'm a vote. I'm really looking forward to Cope reaching out. But yeah, it's just crazy that dude called and said all that, like literally blew me right there. Literally blew me. What's going on here? Yeah, Iris, got to get a hold of her again. And yeah, if you haven't seen the new video,
Heartbeats, what's up? You got Ernest Davis here bringing
new video that we got up of Holloman addressing rumors. So my page now, it's out now. If you guys want to go check that out, got about 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left here, excuse me. So yeah, I'm live on all my platforms right now. I can only do 3 at a time. I do have a Twitch where I do stream my video games. Excuse me. I do have a TikTok that I am live on right now. Yeah, we're still working out the kinks of everything. Of course, I see that I need to update my webcam, which I will be updating. Shout out to my enemies who have contacted me and congratulated me. Shout out to my enemies who have contacted me and congratulated me. I'll say it again. Shout out to my enemies who have contacted me and congratulated me and asked me for help. To ask to be a part of this. This is just the beginning. Be on the lookout. I can't wait until I get my live going where I can just have everything flying in the background. Be on the lookout for the carne asada barbecue coming. All are welcome. We need unity. We need positive emotional health between our families out here in Elkhart County. We need to show that we love and care for one another. Our children need to know each other. This county is too small for our families not to know one another and for our children not to call each other sister and brother. The suicide rate is too high. Our children should not be passing away as children, and that's sad to me. This is Ernest Davis here, bringing you guys the news that the news won't bring you. And you guys, this is crazy. This guy called in and said that, drugs to sex to, police brutality on inmates. And this is crazy. I was hoping somebody else would call in, but maybe we'll do this a little later. Heartbeats, maybe I'll do a little better, setup. This is, back new to me, but I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. And thank you for Anonymous for calling in. Man, this is deep. This is deep, but this isn't anything but a sign to keep going. And I appreciate all of you watching, engaging, learning, and growing with each other through truth. And that's what this platform is all about. I thank you. This platform wouldn't be anything without you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You got Ernest Davis here, bringing you the news that the news won't bring you.